Olivia was the middle of three kids. She was a very funny kid growing up. She had a lot of spirit in her. In high school, she was in band, in the marching corps as a flag girl. And she was known for really reaching out to people and being a good kind of steward to the younger kids as they came up through band. She had plans to drive an 18 or 19-year-old boy, probably 50 miles from Dublin, Ohio to Urbana University. It's a winding country road, two-lane road the whole way. Not a lot of traffic at all on a Sunday. So they made the trip there. They left shortly after, and she was running late. So she was running late, and then the texts started coming into her phone, for her to get home. It was time to come home. So it was a combination of those texts that were coming in at the relative instant before this accident occurred, when she started to come in on a curve on a road, one of the curves on that road, not knowing the curve was there. So she traveled some distance, missed the curve, overcorrected coming back, and just rotten luck, there was a car coming the other way on the two-lane road, traveling at least 55, 60 miles an hour. Overreacting, coming back from this curve, hits this car head on. Coming the other way, it was a family of four. Parents in the front seat in their 30s, young kids in the back. The doorbell rings. So I get up and check the door, and I could see that two officers were in the front doorstep, and they clearly had pretty somber looks on their faces, expressions, and they asked if they could step in the house. And it's etched in my mind. They told me that my daughter, Olivia, passed away in a car accident at around 8:15 that evening. I couldn't believe it. My knees just hit the ground. And I couldn't stand. And I kept saying, no, why? Why? I just saw her, it can't be her. I just left her a day before. When you're months away, weeks away really from, the high school graduations, and her 18th birthday was in June. All of those things that we had looking forward, looking ahead, were gone in an instant. And when those police officers came to my home, my life was one way before that hour and completely different after. I told her next time I see her would be at her high school graduation in May. And instead, the next time I saw her was at the funeral in a casket. The father and the young child in the back passed away. My daughter, Olivia, was ejected from the vehicle, and her body flew, I would say, some 30 feet in the air into a farm field, and I'd say by its final resting place in that field, it had traveled at least 100 feet from where the accident had occurred. The accident scene itself was so horrific that the officers couldn't even take the sight of it without breaking down, just because of the age of the victims involved. And it's a couple of young kids and a family driving home on a Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. It's not supposed to happen. at the funeral, Brienne, Olivia's friend that was in the car with her, had basically hunted me down in the funeral. She was looking for me, and I was the only one that she wanted to talk to. And I sat her down, and I thanked her for coming, and she was distraught and upset, and she looked up at me and she said, "Don't text and drive." You almost knew, you know? It was almost, you almost knew that it had to be something like that. Otherwise, there could be no other logical explanation in my mind, you know? Dealing with trying to read those messages on a phone when you're driving 80 miles an hour on a tricky road as it is, you know, it's a recipe for disaster. The attitude that it can never happen to you is false. It can happen to you. It can happen to kids. It can happen to adults. It can happen to any of us. It affects everyone that's involved. It affects your families. It affects your friends. It affects other people's lives that you don't even know. The effects are indescribable. No, you can never change it. It sticks with you forever. You walk around with that every day. It's like a straitjacket. And I wasn't prepared for it. Olivia's message would be to love the people that are around you. Her message would be to think about what you're doing, because some of your actions could really hurt the people that love you the most. It can happen, and it happened to her. And I think also that she would say how much she wished that she didn't make that trip that day.